What's up, guys? It's your girl Dedicated Diva, and I'm back with another video. Now, this video is going to be about an employee versus an independent contractor, and it's basically because I do all of these work at home job type videos, and I never really tell you guys the difference between an employee and an independent contractor. Now, I'm just going to go kind of one by one with these so you guys will actually know or can actually kind of visualize what the differences are. Now, you guys can also go to my website, divadedicated.com. If you guys hover over the tab that say Dedicated Diva YT, you guys will see virtual assisting, then you will see employee versus IC. And you can go there for some of the information that I'm going to give you guys in this podcast. Now, employee versus independent contractor. An employee mostly works for one employer. Now, they may have two. Some people may even have three jobs, but most of the time, employees only work for one job, and they may have something like a part-time job. Now, as an independent contractor, you can provide services for many different companies and many different individuals. As long as you make sure you have everything under control on your end, you can work for however many people, however many companies that you see fit. Now, an employee have to work for a set amount of hours. You have certain days and certain hours you have to go to work. For instance, you may have to go to work Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. You have a 1-hour lunch and two 15-minute breaks. Or as an independent contractor, they're able to set their own working hours. So you can work whenever you see fit and whenever you want to. Now, over the years, I love being an employee and an independent contractor. But as I started to get older and after I had my daughter, I got on the side of it being an independent contractor a little bit more because I was able to work whenever I felt like working. And my clients, or, whatever you want to call them, they knew that I was setting my own hours. I set my own deadline. And basically, they seen my contract as, as what it was. And if they had a contract, we both knew that I have a contract, you have a contract. We have to meet in the middle somewhere. Now, being an employee, you have to work up under that company, no matter if you work from home or it's brick and mortar. If you work from home, you still have to have a set computer that you work on, and they have to have your IP address and different things like that. This is some of the reason why they ask you to do these little tests, and they may ask you to run a speed test. That's just to see your IP address. Basically, they want to make sure that this is where you're going to be, and when you're logging in to their server to do their job, they want to make sure that you're in that set location. Because I've been an employee on certain jobs, and I remember, guys, this had to be over 13 or 14 years ago, and I didn't understand the whole thing in being an employee working from home because I had been an independent contractor the years before. And I went on vacation. I took the same laptop, guys. Went on vacation. I connected to the vacation home that we went to. I connected to their Wi-Fi, and I could not work. It would not let me into their system. And so I started panicking, and I contacted my lead. And he was like, okay, it looks like your IP address have changed, so they're not going to let you in. And so needless to say, when I came back from that vacation, I was fired. I had no clue that you couldn't move to a different location. And I didn't even know that they would know if I moved to a different location. So when being an employee, you have to work on, that IP address in that certain location. You can work from anywhere in your home if you're going to work from home and be an employee, but you have to be working through that set IP address. And most companies didn't have it back, I would say a couple of years ago, but it's a lot of work at home companies now. They would track your IP address down, and that's how they know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing at that, at any set location. Now, when you're being an independent contractor, you can basically work whenever and wherever you feel like working. You can go to that company if you feel like going to that company and sitting and speaking with them and working while you're there. You can work from home. You can work on the library. You can work on vacation. You can work on the beach. It does not matter. You can work in your car if you felt like it. Now, with being an independent contractor, there may be costs associated in performing a job. Now, when you're an employee, you're basically using all their resources, everything they have. So if they ask you to do anything, it's basically, you can just reach out and get it, or you can walk across the store and get it. Or if you're working from home, there's something that they will already be, this is something that they would have been gave you before you even began. And a lot of work at home companies, they give you equipment and they give you little pieces. So if it's anything else that you need, or they have a certain server that you log into to get the job done. Now, just say if you were doing some type of accounting or something for your client, and it was a certain software that they use, if they wouldn't give you access to theirs, you would have to buy yours. You would have no choice, or that's just one job that you wouldn't have. That's just money that you wouldn't have in your pocket. Now, with being an employee, training is always paid. Now, I had someone contact me and say that they got hired as an employee of a certain work at home company that I no longer put here on my channel, and this is the reason why. They were hired as an employee, but they was not being paid for training. I was like, what? You always supposed to get paid for training if you are an employee. Now, if you're an independent contractor, you can, but most companies don't. But of course, if you want to get in with that company and you actually want to work for them and you're IC, you'll go through that training and not be paid for it, and just, you'll get your money from actually working for them. But if you're an employee, 9 times out of 10, you are supposed to get paid for training. Companies that's putting themselves out here and saying that they're hiring employees and they're not paying you for training, or they're not paying you for these little sideline chats and nesting and different things like that, you are supposed to get paid for that. Now, if you are an employee, you will receive unemployment if you're laid off or if you're terminated. As an independent contractor, you will not receive any unemployment benefits whatsoever. If you are an employee, things like your Social Security, Medicare, and income taxes, they are taken out of your check every time your check is given. If you're an IC, it's not. Those are things that you have to pay for on your own time. Now, I pay for mine every 3 months when I'm actively, working as an independent contractor. I pay for that every 3 months because I don't want to pay for it in January when everyone is doing taxes and I'm doing taxes and look like I have to pay all this money back and don't look like I'm getting too much of anything back. So I pay for it ahead of time so everything can be smooth sailing. And if you want to know anything about that, you can visit the irs.gov and they can help you out with that. Now, you can also receive workers' compensation benefits for any workplace injury if you are an employee. But if you are an IC, you cannot, because you work for yourself. You're at home. If you hurt yourself, if you stubbed your toe, it's on you. Now, if you are an employee, you work under the control and the direct supervision of your employer. You may get to venture off. Maybe you work for Walmart, Target, you bank, something like that, but you work under their control. You do exactly what they want you to do when they want you to do it, and that's just the way it is. That's the way we know everything of being. But if you're an independent contractor, You can work on your own time. Now, when you're an employee, they have to give you a 2 weeks notice. They have to give you verbal warnings. They have to give you some type of written warning. They have to give you warnings before they let you go, unless it's something horrible happen, like a fight or any type of violence. They cannot just let you go. They have to give you a 2 weeks notice, and they have to give you warnings before. If you're an independent contractor, they can let you go whenever they feel like letting you go. If you didn't write out the contract and say, I still get this set dollar amount, if you let me go, guess what? It's not going to matter. So these are just so many things that you think about when you are trying to be an independent contractor versus being an employee. Independent contractor, you can get let go anytime. They don't have to have a reason. You can get let go. If you are an employee, you kind of have a little bit more rules and regulations on your side. With it being an independent contractor, you can get let go no matter how good of a job you're doing. You can get let go. Now, with being an independent contractor, this is something, the last thing that I want to say. You have 3 days before you have to reply to anything that your client wants you to do. So just say, for instance, if you're doing work for them and some come up and your child gets sick and you send a email saying, I can't work today, but I will have it set by this set deadline. If they send you back anything in between then, you do not have to respond for 3 days. After you do respond to them, you don't have to respond to them about what happened, when it happened, all that. And they cannot, put it like this, it does not supposed to affect your work at all. I've had many clients try to pull this on me. I may have something that came up, or I'm working with another client and I've almost got everything finished. I just may have to go back over everything and just proofread and make sure everything is just fine. So I put everything on the back burner for a day, and then a day later, the second day, I get this email saying, well, I don't no longer need you for the job, but you still have to pay me because those 3 days they was not up. But I'm gonna leave you guys with that little cliffhanger. Being an independent contractor, in my eyes, with me having children, is one of the best things that I turn to, because I'm able to do things when I want to, as long as you know the guidelines in which they should be done and how things should be done. I'm gonna leave you guys with that, and I'll be back next week with more talk on being an independent contractor, and I'll maybe come back the week after that with everything about being an employee. But here on my channel, I just want to make it easier for you guys to know what can be done and what can't be done, so that you can be your own boss, because you don't have to work for people. Some people like working for people. For some reason, I just don't have that gene. My brother, my sister, my dad, they have been faithfully working for their employees for years. For some reason, I just can't do that. I get in these positions, and no matter what goes on and how good it go, I always end up falling back to being an independent contractor. I don't know what it is. But I'll talk to you guys next week.